proven me right everywhere else because he was a stud in Oakland. He became a stud in Cincinnati. He's been a stud in Minnesota. So I don't want to hear that, oh, he couldn't handle the Bronx, because there were plenty of stud starts that he had in the Bronx.
Right.
That the Yankees just, for some whatever reason, decided that their analytics are better than everyone else's. And
you are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm one of your hosts, Stacey Gotsoulias. You could start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. With me as usual, my co-host Brian McKeon. Brian, happy Fan Mail Friday.
Happy Fan Mail Friday. Let's get rock and rolling.
Yeah, let's get rock and rolling. But before we get rock and rolling, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like the video, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. We will be briefly talking about something we joked about the other day, where I said you were discussing the Rays at Steinbrenner Field as an option, and I joked and said that would never happen. It's happening. Yeah. We're going to talk about that.
For $15 million, you can make anything happen.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Sure, I would do anything. No, let's not say that. I wouldn't do anything for $15 million. Okay.
Careful what you wish for.
Let's be careful with that. Anyway, and besides that, it's Fan Mail Friday. So let's get into it. As you know, if you're a regular, we have our insiders first. And as you know, our first insider is always Betty. Let me bring her up right here for our first question of the week. Your episode on the 2014 season exuded such joy. By the way, that year was the first time we went to the new Yankee Stadium. My question is, do you think we'll experience that kind of joy in the foreseeable future? I feel like we felt, or we exuded a lot of joy after the Juan Soto home run when they won the pennant. Like, you know?
Yeah, I mean, what does she mean? What does she mean by that? Like, because I didn't get a lot of joy out of the 2014 season. And does she mean the episode itself? Because I loved the episode.
Yes, the episode itself. That's what she means.
We'll have plenty more episodes of that, Betty. Don't worry. Like, there's plenty more of those coming.
Yeah.
The 2014 season did not exude a lot of joy for me, at least.
No. But there is a way to make bad seasons fun when you do shows about them.
Oh yeah,
and I
think we should do more of them. Honestly, I think we should dive into the whole 2010s Yankees.
Yeah. There's some interesting. Actually, we should do 2013 next, because there are some names on that team where you're just like, it's even worse than 2014. Like, it's
somehow
10. Yeah, somehow it's 10 times worse than 2013. But thank you for the comment. We're happy that you liked that episode, and thank you as usual, Betty.
Yes, David F. Hey guys, what's your favorite former Red Sox player to later become a Yankee? I have to go with Roger Clemens, excluding Babe Ruth, of course. Yeah, you got to exclude Babe Ruth in that one. That's a really good. There's not a lot to choose from, at all, really. I want to say, mainly because I really liked this guy when they first got him. I'm gonna go with Adam Ottavino. I just loved Adam Ottavino when he first got over to the Yankees. The first year he was with the Yankees, that slider was like one of the filthiest pitches in all of baseball. And then he's lost it over the years. He's definitely not the same pitcher, but I guess that was the other way around. Like, that was Yankee to Red Sox. But him I really enjoyed. But there's not a lot of Red Sox going to Yankees. It really isn't.
Like, I'm trying to think. Like, did I actually like any of those guys? No, because I always held it against them that they were Red Sox first. Like, there was always that part of me, like, that I could never really like Johnny Damon. You know, he had that great moment in the 2009 World Series, the stolen base and the.
He was a really productive player for them, though. Like, I think he became a Yankee. Like,
yeah, but
way more than Jacoby Ellsbury ever became a Yankee.
Yeah, I don't have a favorite former Red Sox player to become a Yankee.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, but there's not a huge list to choose from. I mean, the answer is Babe Ruth. I know you said excluding Babe Ruth. The answer is Babe Ruth for any Yankee fan.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, David. And thank you for asking questions every week and sending texts in our Insiders Club. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Next, Lauren asks, which active former Yankee would you want to bring back to the team? Not necessarily because they're great or the team needs them, just because you liked them.
Wow. I mean, mine's obvious. I know mine for sure, but no one's going to agree with this. Mine's Sonny Gray. I was a massive Sonny Gray fan way before they traded for him, so I got to give myself that credence. Way before they traded for him, I was a massive Sonny Gray fan. I loved him when he was a Yankee. I thought he got a bad shake. I'll stand by it for the rest of my life. Them forcing Sonny Gray to become a different pitcher than he actually was made no sense because, and it's proven me right everywhere else, because he was a stud in Oakland. He became a stud in Cincinnati. He's been a stud in Minnesota. So I don't want to hear that, oh, he couldn't handle the Bronx, because there were plenty of stud starts that he had in the Bronx.
Right.
That the Yankees just, for some whatever reason, decided that their analytics are better than everyone else's and didn't let Sonny Gray become Sonny Gray. So I'll always stick by that answer.
Active former Yankee. I've been thinking about this since I saw the question, and I'm having such a hard time with it because I'm trying to think of someone, and I don't think I can. Like, I wish they hadn't chased Gary Sanchez away. I wish they would have worked with him more. I feel like they gave up on him because there were glimmers of things from him, and I always feel like they just like threw him away. So maybe Gary Sanchez, but he hasn't really amounted to that much since he left.
No, that's the thing. Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'll say that.
Interesting one.
Yeah.
The only thing is Gary Sanchez hasn't done much since leaving. So
yeah,
it's not like I don't think they really regret their decision when it comes to
Gary. Like, I'm trying to think of someone maybe that they regret letting go.
Parting with, yeah.
And
there's not a lot of guys.
And I know someone in the comments is going to say like a name, and it's going to be obvious, and I'm going to feel like a moron, because I can't think right now. But
more often than not, when the Yankees are willing to get rid of someone, though, they usually make the right call. They usually don't get burnt a lot on guys that they give up on.
How about Gio Urshela?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Although he hasn't amounted to a ton since leaving either.
Yeah, but he was better. He was good at third base though, and he would be solid at third base. That
one I'd agree with.
Yeah. So let's go with Gio Urshela, because he also that trade still annoys me to this day, and it's almost 3 years old.
That annoys me not really because of what they gave up. It annoys me. The trade itself annoys me more than anything. Like what they agreed to acquire back was
You're like, why?
It's one of the worst trades one of my teams I think has ever had. It's that bad, honestly.
Yeah.
Let's go to Eric S for the last one of this segment. Do you think no extension for Boone is a signal that the bad year means he is not returning? Now, Stacy, making him a lame duck manager is weird to me. Not many teams you're ever going to find ever go to a World Series, win an AL pennant, and then turn their manager, don't extend their manager going into the year after that. That to me is strange. I thought the press conference last week made no sense. Because why would you had a press conference, to tell us that, what? Is it a closing? I don't understand it at all. I really don't. No other team does that. So that was weird to me. I was totally expecting an extension. I don't know what winds up happening. I really still feel like before opening day, they're going to give him an extension. Because I can't imagine winning an AL pennant and going into the next, especially with how much they claim they love Boone. Why would you go into the next year without giving him a deal?
I think maybe they're waiting to get all their ducks in a row first, and then
that's what it feels like, at least on my side of things.
Working on something with Boone. I think that might be all it is. I really don't think that even if this is a bad year coming up, I don't think they'd get rid of him. I really don't.
No, I mean, it would have to be, we're also saying bad when it comes, think of the standard of bad that we have. Right. I mean,
our standard of bad is
82. We're going to think that's an awful year.
Yeah.
But if they finish with 75 wins, then he's canned.
Yeah.
There's no way. But they'd have to finish with an awfully embarrassing year for themselves. And the odds of that happening are slim. The Red Sox aren't a powerhouse, even though they started last year pretty well. They're not a powerhouse. Who the heck knows what you're going to get out of the Rays? You don't know when you're going to get out of Toronto. So there's a lot of question marks. And I can't picture the Yankees having that bad of a year. Like they're gonna at minimum next year, if you had to bet the house, you're gonna say they're at least winning like 83 games next year, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah, so they're over 500, and then are they gonna get rid of Boone if they're over? Probably not. So
Right.
that's where you kind of, I don't think there's a chance that. And if that's the case, why let him go into next year as a lame duck manager?
Yeah, I really think they're going to get all their ducks in a row and then do it
They'll
after
announce it
their.
like sometime in spring training or something.
Yeah, I think so too. If everything's done by them, because who knows how this free agency offseason is going to go, because you never know how long it's going to take people to sign and what's going to happen and who they're going to get, and
It's going to be an interesting one.
And we'll have it all for you once everything happens. But thank you for that question, Eric. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. And if you would like to be part of next week's Fan Mail Friday, reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday. You can ask us anything, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. You get top priority, and your questions are answered in segment 1. The link is in the description. It isn't only for Fan Mail Friday. You get texts from us when there's breaking news and roster moves and anything like that. And during the season, if there's, any kind of funky lineups, we send them to you so and you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up next, we get into the YouTube questions on Fan Mail Friday. The World Series, Super Bowl, the Olympics. The world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing: teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. SelectQuote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. If you're in good health, SelectQuote works with carriers that could get you same-day coverage for up to $5 million. No medical exam required. And these policies are more affordable than you think. You could get coverage up to $1 million for as little as $20 a month. Head to SelectQuote.com and a licensed insurance agent will call you right away with the right policy for your life and your budget. Get the right life insurance for you for less at SelectQuote.com/lockedon. Go to SelectQuote.com/lockedon today to get started. That's SelectQuote.com/lockedon. Okay, so moving on to YouTube questions. This was a week where we had more YouTube questions than insider questions, and a lot more YouTube questions. I had to cut some of them out, so I apologize if we don't get to yours. And also, I think we're going to put a character limit on some of these questions because there was one that was extremely long, and I apologize to the person who left it, but I could not read that. It would have taken us like 3 minutes to read through the question, and that's just too long. So just try to make them shorter for next week. That's all we ask. So
yes,
thank you for that. But we appreciate you guys doing this. We have a lot of fun answering your questions, and you help us produce the show. So it's a win-win. So our first YouTube question, Big Georgie, can you guys imagine if Billy Martin was currently our coach in this day and age? How do you think he would have handled this team's performance in the last World Series or the past World Series? And imagine him on social media. LOL. Thank you, guys. Yeah, that's a big LOL. He would not survive in this era at all.
Yeah, I think the answer to this question is no, I could not imagine it. Because there's no chance that a team would go forward with him. He would have, the second that he would have, could you imagine how he would have reacted after the Milwaukee game last year? I mean, but he would have never made that decision. But let's be, he wouldn't. I don't think he would have made the mistake in Game 1 of the World Series if you want us to be perfectly honest.
Right.
But, yeah, I know. I cannot imagine Billy Martin in today's day and age. I don't think I could imagine it. What a scene it would be. I mean, how much fun it would be. But no, he wouldn't be able to handle the modern day players. So I disagree. No, Billy Martin would be a terrible manager in today's day and age.
Yeah.
Is it possible for the New York Yankees to sign JPB free agent Sagano to a short contract? I mean, it should be possible, but what do you two think of him and him as a possible Yankee?
So I had to look him up.
Yeah, I don't know who this is.
He's been in the Japanese league for 12 years. He's 35 years old. Because when I looked him up at first, I thought I was looking up the wrong guy because I saw that he was a 35-year-old pitcher, and I thought, wait, this can't be him. But it's him. So now I understand why Sijanuzzi is asking about a short contract, because it would have to be a short contract because he's only 35. But he is available. And, he's one of those under the radar Japanese pitchers that you never know could come over and be fine, but there's not like a lot of, it's mostly Sasaki being talked about, but he's 35. He's pitched there for 12 years. He's done pretty well in those 12 years, but it kind of worries me to have a guy come over after all those years in Japan at 35. It seems kind of late to start a major league career.
I'd agree. I don't see, I don't love the idea of doing that either. I mean, he might be the same age as Tanaka. I don't love the idea of bringing a pitcher over at 35 years old. Someone may, but I can't honestly give you an answer of what I think about him. I haven't done much research on him at all. So I really can't give you an answer on that. I can't sit here and a 35-year-old, they don't like to sign 35-year-old pitchers regardless. A 35-year-old pitcher that's, for not a US player, I don't think there's a chance that they wind up doing that.
Right. With like no track record in the I almost said the MLB, in the majors. No, that probably wouldn't happen. Someone might sign him, you never know, but I don't think the Yankees would. Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
But thank you for the question. And thank you for the question, mainly because I had another player to look up and I was like, oh, I just learned of a new player. So I always like when that happens, but thank you again. Next question from Ghost Prodigy 8709. What do you guys think about Gleyber Torres? I think he's undervalued and should be kept around, especially since second base is a hard position to get offense out of.
I completely agree. I think the rap on Gleyber Torres has been unfair, to be honest with you. I think everybody in New York is under such a microscope, and I think him being like the number one overall prospect and this highly touted guy who started his career off so well doesn't help him either when he struggles. But overall, Gleyber Torres gives you a lot of offensive production, a lot more than he gets credit for. I mean, we went over his numbers a few weeks ago. He's an unbelievably consistent player and doesn't get the credit for that more often than not. Would I like him back? Yeah. Should he be kept around? Yeah. Do I think he will be? No. I think someone's going to give him more money or more years than the Yankees are going to be willing to go to. Which is, unfortunate, but that's the belly of the beast, right? If he was a better player for longer term or for earlier in his career, they probably would have locked him up long term by now or at this point anyway. But he wasn't. It stuck around. He became a free agent, and now it's, me and Stacey said it a million times. I think he's going to wind up being like some kind of middle market, middle America team that's going to give him like a 4 or 5 year deal. And I just don't think the Yankees want to go that far.
Yeah. I mean, I would prefer for them to keep him, but I don't think they'd want to give him what he wants.
He's going to get, and not even what he wants, Stacey, what he's going to get.
Yeah.
Like, more often than not, again, that kind of offensive production isn't easy to find at a second base. It's not. And, some cheaper team like the Milwaukee Brewers who's going to lose Willie Adames, Gleyber's not a horrible replacement.
No, not at all.
I can see that happening.
Yep.
Matt Vincelli 37 says, hey guys, do you see the Yankees giving DJ LeMahieu the Jacoby Ellsbury treatment and just keep him on the IL for the next 2 years? I mean, that wasn't the Jacoby. I mean, Jacoby Ellsbury was legitimately hurt.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they weren't doing that intentionally, this isn't football. They weren't doing that to avoid the cap hit. Like, he legitimately was hurt. No, I think what's going to happen is they're going to give him a run for it in spring training, and then they're just going to call it quits. Like, I honestly believe that's what's going to happen. They're going to let him hit spring training. They're going to see if he has anything left. And when they realize he doesn't, they're going to say, listen, man, sorry. And they're going to cut him, or they're going to DFA him. That's what I think is going to happen. And they're going to eat the salary.
Like, thanks for the memories. Thanks for some of those big moments you gave us. Thanks for those first two really good years that we did not expect from you at all. But you got to go.
Yeah.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. It is unfortunate. Because he was a good player when he first came over, a surprisingly good player. And like I said, he gave us some good moments. That series against the Astros didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but that home run he hit before the walk-off was a big home run, and it could have been one of those big Yankee lore home runs that,
It was. I mean, they felt like it was going to be at the time. No.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah. And then
Wasn't meant to be.
Aroldis
The
Chapman
buzzer said
happened.
differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well.
I will say on that play, that home run to me was more obvious evidence of them cheating more than any other play that happened in 2017. And that wasn't even in 2017. That was more because Aroldis Chapman throws 100 miles an hour. So you're only, when the fastball comes, you're only really hitting it the other way because you're swinging late at it no matter what. And which means that you're speeding up your bat tremendously on his any at bat against him. You have to speed up your bat just to catch up to the fastball. So if you're speeding up your bat when he throws an 88-mile-an-hour slider, you're never going to be prepared for that pitch. So maybe you'll swing late and push it the other way. Maybe you'll pull it really down the line because you're swinging like super late at it. But you're never going to hit it to left center and drive it and get under it and hit all the launch angle possible unless you know the breaking ball is coming there. Just a little, go back and watch that ball that he hit.
No,
Altuve
I don't ever want to watch it again.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Altuve got all of that ball. And to get all of I don't know what player would be waiting breaking ball with 2 strikes in the bottom of the 9th inning of the ALCS. Just a little food for thought.
Allegedly.
Don't take my jersey off.
Coming up next, more fan mail. Coming up next, more Fan Mail Friday questions, and we're going to talk about the Rays playing at Steinbrenner Field.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place all of your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Guys, you can get involved. And you know what? You can bet the Rays to win regular season games at Steinbrenner Field next year. But also you can get into hockey, basketball, baseball, football. Everything's on right now. And especially with college football coming down to the end, you can bet futures on FanDuel for teams to make the 12-team playoff. It's all available, all of it, on FanDuel.com. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's all available on FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel. It's the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Stacey, 2 more YouTube questions, and then we're going to get into a really funny rent situation. As I'm moving out of my home, the Rays are moving into a new one. Very, very, very strange. Let's go to Requinix17. He says, what do you think about the Yankees selling high on Luke Weaver and trading him this offseason? This year was a breakout year for him with a new approach and a new role after 8 seasons that were nothing to write home about. Is it sustainable? His trade value might be peaking right now, and he is going to be a free agent after the 2025 season anyway.
No.
Yeah, I think you're thinking too far into it. You can't trade every good player that has high trade value because then you have no talent on your team. Luke Weaver also is a closer making no money. That is really, really, really hard to find in baseball. An elite closer making $1 million a year. You ride it out with Luke Weaver. If you wind up having that disaster year we were talking about, and he's available at the trade deadline, and someone wants him, then you discover moving on from him. But right now, no. You leave Luke Weaver, and he's starting on your opening day roster.
Yeah. The Yankees need Luke Weaver in the bullpen right now, so no, wouldn't be getting rid of him. And the no money thing, or the low money thing, is definitely a big deal because they need to save as much money as possible, but also have people on the team who can perform. And if you can perform and you're not making money, that's great for the Yankees.
They love that.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. And our final YouTube question from Vincent M. Durham 1695. Who would you all like to see as the first baseman for the New York Yankees next season? Ben Rice or a free agent? Keep up the great work, Stacy and Brian.
Definitely not Ben Rice. I think we saw enough of him last year. I think he started the year off really well, had that 3 home run game, and then all of a sudden it showed its true colors. He wasn't ready to be playing at the major league level, clearly. Now, my guy that I want, and I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm kind of confident it's not going to happen, but I'd still love it, is Christian Walker. I think he fits this team really well. I think he's exactly what they need. I think it's a low-key player that would fit really well. I just don't. I think when you're the only big-time first baseman available on the market, the price undoubtedly is going to get overinflated. It just is. And I just think there's no way at this point that he's going to wind up staying.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I'd love it to be a cheap price, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. And this is a note to Robbie Garnes. I saw your question on YouTube, and instead of answering it, we're going to save it for a future episode because you gave us that option in the question and said maybe you could use this on the show. So we're going to use it as a topic for a segment coming up relatively soon because it fits with off-season topics. So
we need to make Robbie one of our producers, though, because that's like, really, really intuitive thinking there. We appreciate it.
Thank you for that, Robbie. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, it was announced on Thursday that the Rays will be playing at Steinbrenner Field in 2025. Now, I know I joked about that not happening, but it does actually make a lot of sense. Steinbrenner Field is a top-notch baseball field. It is just under major league level. Like, they have everything they need. They have to do minimal upgrades because the Yankees already spent a ton of money in 2017 to upgrade the stadium. There are suites there if they need them. The capacity is 11,026. I think the Rays' highest total for attendance last year was somewhere, 13 or 16,000? So that's not that much higher than that. They'll have sellouts every day at Steinbrenner Field, and you won't have to hear about attendance problems.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It is one of the more upgraded minor league stadiums out there. So, I mean, they are very well prepared and well equipped to handle. Honestly, let's be real, probably more equipped than Tropicana Field. Other than, I think the only upgrades they're gonna have to make for the stadium is like major league collective bargaining agreement, things that like have to be included in a stadium, like certain specific weight rooms and hydrotherapy and that kind of stuff that like a minor league stadium just wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Other than that, they're going to be fine. And again, they're being paid $15 million in rent by the Rays, which I did see online, which was hysterical. The highest total on the Rays luxury tax this year is their rent. They don't have a player making $15 million. So that's really fascinating. It'll be weird seeing the Yankees play the Rays while they're on the road. Like
at Steinbrenner Field.
At Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah.
But hey, I wonder what this means for the future of the Rays, though. Like, is it worth repairing Tropicana Field for $100 million when they could just build a new one?
Well, I mean, the new one's not there. The new one's not going to be ready until 2028. I think they said
they didn't fully announce it, though. They didn't fully announce a new stadium yet. They haven't actually formally announced a new stadium in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So
the other downside is a lot of the games that wouldn't have been postponed or canceled because they have a roof at Tropicana Field are probably going to be affected by Florida's weather.
You get a lot of weather down there.
There's no way around it. Florida's one of those places where, it could be sunny one minute and torrential downpour the next minute and then sunny again. And you can have like games where you're just sitting there waiting for weather to pass where you didn't have to worry about that in Tropicana Field. So that's one bad thing. Apparently, they were actually choosing between the Phillies complex in Clearwater and the Yankees complex in Tampa. And I think Tampa makes sense because the biggest knock on Tropicana Field is how difficult it is for people to get there. Because there's really one bridge that sends you to that part of the Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg area. And traffic is always terrible. And if you're going from certain places, it could take 45 minutes to an hour. And Steinbrenner Field is it's like more centrally located in that area compared to where Tropicana Field is.
It's right next to the Buck Stadium too, Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah.
This is much better location wise. But it's going to be really it's going to be fascinating to see, like, because this is not going to be a long-term thing. This is going to be a 1 or 2 year plan, and then what do you do? So it's going to be really fascinating. Even if the new stadium opens in 2028, which I guess is what it would be scheduled for if it gets approved soon, which you'd think this would give Major League Baseball a little bit more of a oomph to get it, approved. But even if that's the case, like, what are they going to end up doing? Like, are they going to play at Steinbrenner Field for,
Well, maybe they'll be
5
like the A's and play in a minor league stadium for a couple seasons, waiting for a new stadium to be. So now there are two teams in the AL playing in minor league stadiums.
Not a good look for baseball. Like really, the fact that you have think about it this way. The worst teams in the NFL, and I know it's a different sport and different games, everything. The worst teams in the NFL couldn't survive playing in like a lower level college stadium. They couldn't with the crowd wise. It would be possible. And last year in the NHL, you saw this happen. The Arizona Coyotes played for the last 2 seasons at Arizona State College. They played at their hockey facility, which they had to make upgrades to make it NHL capable. They played their games in that stadium. They were trying to find a new place to build a new arena in Arizona, and they couldn't. And now that team plays in Utah. So, be careful, because this has happened before, and it's resulted in teams leaving. It's not a good look for a sport. It's real. And now you have not 1, but 2 teams doing this. Really a bad look.
Yeah. So thank you for Fan Mail Friday, as usual. And, we'll be doing it every week until the playoffs next season.
Yes.
Hopefully. And next week, more of the same. If news happens, obviously we'll talk about it. We might do that What If Wednesday again, and let's do Throwback Thursday again, because that was actually fun, and we'll come up with another fun team to talk about. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully gives you a daily blend of humor in baseball, keeping you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that's going to do it for this Friday edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you next week.